Right now, directly above the ceiling of your local post office, there is a hidden maze of secret tunnels. They were even built directly above the bathrooms. For over a century, federal agents used these dark, narrow corridors to spy on the people below. To the workers on the floor, the ceiling looked completely normal, except for these viewing ports. So what were these tunnels, and why did the government build a secret spy network into almost every post office in America? They were standard features in almost every medium to large American post office built in the early 20th century. To a worker below, it just looked like some sort of vent, but to the inspector, it was a secret hideout with a panoramic view of the entire floor. They're called lookout galleries. Inside, you wouldn't find a high-tech control room. You'd find a network of narrow, winding passages snaking through the ceiling to view every part of the building, even the restrooms. Although spying into women's restrooms ended by the late 1960s due to obvious privacy concerns. The galleries were nothing fancy, strictly utilitarian, and painted matte black. The only comfort inside was a small wooden stool. But the craziest part wasn't how they looked. It was how the inspectors got in and out without anyone noticing. Access by regular employees was strictly forbidden. These tunnels were locked with special keys, and even maintenance staff could only enter once a month under watch from a guard. Inspectors would sneak into the system through hidden doors located in the basement or a small door outside on the back of the building, without any employee ever noticing their arrival. They would climb up winding staircases or sometimes ladder systems within the walls. As they peered down onto the unsuspecting staff, the moment they saw someone slip some money into their pocket, they wouldn't wait. They would burst out of a hidden door and catch the employee red-handed right on the sorting floor. But why was this level of constant surveillance required in a building just sorting junk mail and electric bills? Because at the time, Americans did not trust their local bank. So the government launched something called the Postal Savings System, where people could deposit their money at the post office instead. By the end of World War II, the post office was holding more than $3 billion in deposits. And they were right to worry. This newspaper from 1922 describes how the mail sorters could tell by the feel of the envelope when there was cash inside of it. The government realized their biggest vulnerability wasn't someone breaking in, it was the thousands of employees inside the building every day. Between 1986 and 1988, 12 highly secured packages vanished from the Chicago main post office. They contained mutilated currency, which was bundles of worn-out cash being shipped from banks to the government to be destroyed. A postal inspector named Agent Brock was assigned to find the thief. He suspected it was Teresa James, but wasn't sure. So he set up multiple bait packages filled with cash to trap her and then silently watched from the lookout gallery. But she was smart. She handled all the test mailings perfectly. But then, on May 21st, 1988, another sack of mutilated currency landed at Teresa's station. Thinking no one was watching, she made her move. She took a newspaper, carefully folded it over the cash, and walked out of the room. Then, she took the currency and stuffed it down her pants. Moments later, Agent Brock and 2 police officers busted through the breakout doors and cornered her. The sack hidden in her pants contained $15,000. Teresa claimed she wasn't actually stealing it. She told investigators she was just considering taking it home, but hadn't made her mind up yet. The jury didn't buy it. She was convicted of mail theft and sentenced to 2 years of probation. By the time Teresa James was caught in the late 1980s, the era of the lookout galleries was already coming to an end. For decades, the postal unions fought aggressively against these tunnels, but it wasn't the unions that ultimately killed the lookout galleries. It was technology. By the 1990s, CCTV cameras became cheap, reliable, and compact. The U.S. Postal Service eventually stopped building lookout galleries in their new facilities. But here's the thing. They never tore the old ones down. Removing these tunnels would mean gutting the historic architecture of massive post offices, so the government just left them there. The next time you walk into your old post office to buy stamps or mail a package, take a look at the ceiling. Even though the inspectors are long gone, the secret passageways and the viewing ports are still right there. And post offices weren't the only Gilded Age buildings with secrets. The mansion you're about to see was built for the richest man in Canada. Decades later, the CIA found it and turned it into a secret human experimentation lab. 7 boxes of misfiled financial records are the only reason we know what horrors happened inside. Click here to see that story. Thanks for watching. If you like unpacking the past, hit subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos.